orchestra people, hopefully you end up watching this video. If you don't, so sorry. So today, we're in 9-2. We are going to find surface area of prisms, pyramids, cones, cylinders, all that good jazz. So I'm actually going to skip the solve it. We don't really need to talk about that. Yeah.
I should have reminded my phone to talk to you.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm probably going to forget.
So what you may remember from last year is that prisms, thank you, sir, are related. Actually, I think I already have a copy of these. Are related to other shapes. What shape would a pyramid be in a relationship with? If you look at what the pyramid is, compared to other shapes that we've talked about before, three-dimensional, of course.
Square.
A square is two-dimensional.
Cube.
You're getting closer, but a cube is kind of too specific. Mackenzie? Any kind of prism, really, because, so this pyramid has what appears to be a square base, but not all pyramids will. Some of the coolest pyramids don't have square bases. So like if you took a triangle and then made that into a pyramid, that would be cool, right? It's related to its similar prism by a really cool formula. Grant?
I have no idea what formula it is, but could you make a pyramid out of a circle?
Then it would be a cone.
Well, yeah,
Which
but
we'll
if
get
you just
to
did
next.
like 3 lines from the circle,
You can't.
you can.
Because if it's a circle and they're going up,
That's
because
a good point.
so that's a good question though, because the point of
Ben,
a
you can shut up.
that was a great question. So whoever's talking smack, shut it.
That was
Yeah.
lame.
So
Hey, that sounds good.
know where to direct your anger.
Jeez.
I like directing my anger at Ben.
You can direct it at me if you need to.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
The point of a pyramid is from any point on the outer edge of the base. Any point out here. There is a line that takes it from the base up to a single point where all of them meet. So there's a line there, there's a line there, there's a line there. There's all these lines that come down. And really when we look at all of the lines, it forms the sides of my pyramid. Now, how are the pyramid sides different than the prism sides? If we look at pyramid sides versus prism sides. Sorry, I should have these already. What is different? Oh, these are still taped from this summer. I wanted to make sure that no one stole these. This set is like over $100.
Wait, what's that?
You never imagine how expensive 3D shapes are.
Oh, yeah. These things
I
are
remember.
bothering me.
Prism, right? What we talked about yesterday? When we unfold the net, all my sides make
That.
what shapes? Just give it to me. Rectangles. Now be careful saying squares. Here they are squares because it's a very nice prism. So we have square sides, triangle base, 2 of them. When we compare to a similar, and by similar I mean it's got the same base, same exact size base. And when you unfold this net, what shape sides are we going to have? Triangles, right? How would the triangular sides compare to the rectangular sides? Emily? So the sides, every side of this is now half of it. How do the bases compare?
It's one less base.
There's one less base. I had 2 bases here, 2 triangles. Here I only have 1. So I essentially have half of everything I had
Isn't that
before.
an extra step?
What?
Isn't that like an extra step also?
What do you mean?
Like for that you had 2 B's, so you didn't have like when you got. Let's just talk about that one right there. You didn't
Yeah.
have to do a more. You didn't have to divide by half.
Yeah. So lateral area now is half of what it would be for the prism. And instead of having 2B, we only have 1B. So that's why lateral area now, instead of just being perimeter times the height or the length between the bases, now length this is where people make mistakes. Length is the distance, the perpendicular distance from the edge of your base up to the point where they all meet. So it's kind of like your apothem. It's that direct 90-degree line straight down to the base of that triangle. And then big B, you just solve for whatever your big B is. Likewise, in a cone, as Grant so wisely asked, can we make a pyramid with a circle? Yeah, but we call that a cone because now from one point at the top, we can draw lines down to any point on the edge of the circle. So we still have one base, but now it's a circle. But the lateral area, that's what's really weird. Can anyone picture what the lateral area is going to look like? Because it's not like a rectangle or a triangle anymore. This lateral area around this cone. Greg, we haven't talked yet.
Gonna look kind of like a semicircle.
Ooh, kind of like a semicircle, Emily? Okay.
We did this like 2 years ago.
Well, it was actually just last year in Math 8,
Well, yeah,
but it
it's
feels
2
like 2 years ago.
Based on
Part of the circle. Depending on the length of the side, that what in the pyramid we called like our apothem, that determines the radius of that portion of the circle. The circumference around your base determines the arc length that we have here. So the formula that we use for that lateral area is 1/2 times 2 pi r times L, or make your life easier, it's just pi RL. So, and the base being a circle, well, what's the area of a circle? Just pi r squared. Careful, because you're thinking back to cylinder. So really, our surface area here is pi r L plus pi r squared. Notice how just like in this, guys, your cheat sheet this chapter is probably going to be a note card actually because there's not a ton. But yesterday, we used 2 pi r h and 2 pi r squared. Now we're cutting those things in half. Instead of h, we use L because height would actually be this distance. So we don't use the actual height, we use the length down the side edge. And then we only have one base, so it's just pi r squared. Stravler?
Is there a way to find the surface area with the height?
You'd make a right triangle. So if you're, and we're actually going to see that today, you'd make this right triangle and then compute what L is. So good question. Yeah, if you have the height, you can still find that lateral area. You just have to, like, the answer is yes, but. Like, yes, but you have to compute that L. Because you have to know your radius. There's no way to deal with it if you don't know your radius. Or, like, you'd have to know some other piece to get your radius.
In this problem, you...
So, what kind of pyramid is this? Because you can't just call them pyramids. Just like on your homework it said identify the type of prism. Well, it's not just a prism. That was a pentagonal prism because it had a pentagon base. This here, Ben.
Hexagonal.
Yeah, hexagonal or hexagonal. The emphasis can go... Oh, I told you guys about the emphasis.
No.
If you put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable, you can saddle up your horse and gallop into the coral.
I'm glad you just tried to speak English.
If you put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable, you can saddle up your horse and gallop into the coral. If you put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable, you can saddle up your horse and gallop into the corral. A corral is where horses like live.
Oh, it's basically
Bunch of
you just change the syllables around.
You're just changing all the syllable emphases. All right, so we have a hexagonal prism. Hey, high up here. We have a hexagonal prism. I don't have this solved out for you guys. I just gave you the formula. So the formula that we're going to use, lateral area and big B, again, are half what they were before. So we have half the perimeter times the length between that point and my base, and then half the, what's A here?
Oh.
Yeah, so 9, right? The apothem here is our 9. So when I fill in for this, what's my perimeter of the base? If I have a hexagon with side length 6, it's a regular hexagon. 36, right? 6 sides with length 6. So half the perimeter times the length. Now here's the thing, and I think I actually just misspoke for a second. If we're trying to find big B, the apothem they're asking for, this apothem A, is actually this value, 3 radical 3. So when you set this up, you're going to have 1/2 times 36 times the 9, then 1/2, we're solving the base area now because it's a regular polygon. We just use the 1/2 AP. So 1/2 times 3 radical 3 times, well, I still use the perimeter, 36. Did you already get this done, Phil?
I feel like it's still Monday.
Right. So this walks through how we find everything. We get approximately, Mackenzie.
Yeah, 255.
Grant, are you allowed to take that off?
What?
Your brace thing?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking. I don't want you to like die in the middle of my class. That would.
If I fall over screaming, that means I need the brace on.
Okay. Well, duly noted. If I fall over clutching my chest, you should probably call an ambulance.
Got it. That's great. Yeah.
Try this. They don't give you the picture, but they give you all the needed information.
Oh my gosh.
So identify what is what. I would almost right above these notate what it is. Base edge is 5 meters, so that's like your side length on the bottom. Slant height, that's what we use for that L, that cursive L. We just call it our slant height because it is an apothem, but we don't want to call it the apothem because we use that as part of our base.
Wait, so the apothem and wave are.
So the slant height is an apothem of the side, but we don't label it A because we use the A in my big B formula. So we just label it cursive L for the slant height.
But it's the same thing. Oh, McKenna.
No, because we just, so up there, Greg, in that last example, that shows you why we don't call it the apothem, because this apothem relates to the base apothem. This apothem of 9 inches, we actually use as our cursive L, because that cursive L we call our slant height. So yes, they are both apothems, but they're going to have different values.
So wait a minute, what does that stand for?
Just side length. So if I were to draw a picture of this, actually I need to give it some perspective.
Yeah, let's go for some. Whoa, okay.
And this is 5 and 5.
That's beautiful.
That's 3. Now they don't give you anything else for your big B because it's easy to solve. It's a square. So I set up that my surface area is going to be my lateral area plus my big B. Big B is easy. We'll come back to that. Lateral area, we know it's half because of the triangles. The perimeter times the apothem.
Okay.
Because I could do each side individually and do half the base times the height, half, and then multiply by how many there are. Or the perimeter takes care of doing the 5 times the 4 that there are.
You have to find it.
Because there are 4 sides, all with a base 5. Apothem is given to us. Slant height is the apothem of the side. That's what I was just talking about with Greg. It's very dangerous to call it the apothem because it is, but we a lot of times use 2 different apothems. Because think about if this wasn't a square, they'd break it up into a triangle and they'd give you this length and that would be an apothem too.
So it's 1/2
So-
20 times 3 to get the lateral area.
So we do 1/2 times the perimeter 20 times that slant height 3.
30. I think.
What were you gonna say? 30. Yeah.
Oh, I'm right.
Then what's your big B?
Wait, no, like, so like, is the L the same thing as A? Like, cause the lateral, area is 1/2 P times L.
Oh. Yes. So, thanks. That may have been causing some confusion. It is an apothem,
What is?
but we call it the slant height, and we label it cursive L.
So
Really, you can change any of these formulas. You can do whatever you want, and you can make your own rules using your own variables. This is just what we're presenting to you, because if you just use H, well, that's not good, because H should be the vertical height. And we're going to use H as vertical height. So that's why we use cursive L to be our slant height. So then big B, just 5 times 5 is 25. And to find my total surface area, we do 30 plus 25. Do you have a copy or no?
It's in the Tuesday folder. It should be in there, those three.
No, it's like, remember, it's like yellow.
yes, I get it.
How did I get what?
How did you get the B?
Just the area of the base. It's a square, so I do 5 times 5.
Well, what if it wasn't a square?
Then you use the apostrophe.
Then we use the 1/2 A times P. Because big B in any situation can be 1/2 the apothem times the perimeter. Because all the triangles. But we don't know the apothem here, so we don't use that formula. It's a square. We just use 5 times 5 and get 25.
Okay.
Label it. Some of you guys are having big issues with remembering labels. And just for good measure, let's show the solution.
Oh, they found the apostrophe.
Yeah, they found the apothem, but we don't need to. That's like, what math can you do versus what math do you need to do? We now, problem 2. So now they give
In
us-
this problem, you will find the lateral area of a pyramid.
Just like Bennett asked, or somebody asked, what if we have the height? We don't know that slant height. But we do know that this is a square base pyramid based off the pyramid of Cestius.
How do you
Something
know
like that.
square base
I don't know how we know it, but it is. I mean, if it looks to be square, they only give us one dimension. Like, we can just assume that it is square. Jacob?
So because that's a right angle and it it kind of bisects 30, so that leg would be 15.
Uh-huh.
So you can use Pythagorean theorem to find the
Now we call it the slant height.
slant height.
39.
So we break this up. We say CA there is 15. We then can use, well, they start solving it in a different order. But here's our triangle that we use. My base is 15. My hypotenuse then we solve to be, they don't simplify it. They just found that it was radical 1,549.96.
39.36.
39 point.
137. 36.953.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
137.
There. Then we know our slant height now, so we can use our formula 1/2 P times L because cursive L there is our slant height. Perimeter around the base is just 120. approximately. And these are real values. So that pyramid really exists in Rome. These are real values. Think about 30 meters. That's like 100 feet.
Wait, they have pyramids in Rome?
So I'll go back and show the picture of it.
It's like special.
It's not a pyramid like you think of Egyptian pyramids. It's like a big old. I don't even know when it was built, but more recently.
It looks a bit more white.
Yeah, it's like, you know, we have like the Washington Monument. It's that same sort of thing. Try this. You have another hexagonal base. So to find big B, we use 1/2 the perimeter of the base times that apothem. It tells you here that your apothem is 18 radical 3. You can confer with someone close to you if you'd like.
Oh, lateral area. Oops. I did that.
The video is recording too, so if you guys want to go back and check the beginning of the lessons, it'll be on Schoology.
Your YouTube channel. We can work with someone here.
If you want to check or like compare what your process is, yeah. So we now are solving this shape. Hexagonal pyramid, which I can.
Oh, we don't have that yet.
What do you mean you don't have that
This
yet?
land,
You have to find it because you know the vertical height
right?
and you know the apothem.
Yep. Oh, I'm so sorry for the problem. I was just writing down the formula one had these in my notebook, so I would like look at the fact sheet each time.
So that big long formula is decent, but you can't do it all at once. So I just really encourage you to break it up into parts and just do it a part at a time.
Yeah, what did you do for your problem? For your slam? Now your problem, you're like small.
Oh, you didn't square it.
It just logged me out. Well,
I get it. Okay, that makes sense.
I'm going to take this time to log back in while you guys finish solving, because otherwise it won't let me do anything.
Do 36 times 6, will you? 36 times 6.
Hold on, I'm almost done. No, I set it up.
How did 0.5 times 2, 16? He did 0.5. Oh, how did half of 216 give you 4,570?
It's not like extreme That's why I kind of like it on. Because if once you set up everything, Jacob, you just look at you just record the file.
Oh, you
I
multiply it by
can help you. Let's check.
you multiply it by 16. Shut up.
Yeah. It's not an app. It's not on the computer.
Why didn't I get teach this?
Well, I wish there was an app. I could just.
Can you?
Yeah.
Well, you can.
I don't think you did. Yeah, you didn't get that.
Yeah, I think so.
We have lots of
We think. We don't know if we got the right answer.
Does your work match mine so far?
Stop. No.
No, it doesn't.
Not even close. Square root that, see what happens.
Yeah, I was about to say, sorry, square root that.
Then yes.
That's
why I was confused. Yes,
Yes,
it does. That was amazing.
So what scares me is, did you not have the work written down to see that you had L squared the same as me?
We did it a different.
Oh, you did it a different way?
No, we got
How
we
did-
got L is equal to 52.306. So
Yeah, 307 if you actually want to round at that place.
Oh, it should still be 307. It just said it ended there.
Hey Jacob, what'd you get for surface
You're
area?
using a more basic
Yeah.
calculator. And it might be set to 3 decimal places to truncate instead of round.
I mean, it normally shows
Did you do
I don't know,
surface
weird.
area?
as many as the screen shows.
From there we don't really have a lot of process to do. You know what I mean? You can come up and teach it or you can talk it through.
Well,
Like,
from
kids have
here,
six
you just do
now?
36 times 6.
Yeah, so to find your perimeter here, you're just going to take your 36 times 6. What'd you get with that?
216. Then you just multiply 52. Wait,
You can turn that into 108.
I still couldn't
What?
get your
You can turn that into 108.
Why?
Because times 1.5.
Yeah, so since it's going to be 1/2 times the 216 times my 52-ish, then it becomes 108 times that 52.307, and your lateral area becomes
5,649 feet squared.
I just did 216 and I just divided that by 2.
yeah, that's fine. Grant.
How did you get the 2736?
So, you take,
I just did 42 squared
yeah,
plus 18.
how much are you relying on your calculator to do?
Um,
Because if you type in 18 radical 3 squared, it's only going to square your radical 3.
I put it all in parentheses.
So you put the 18 radical 3 in parentheses.
Yep.
Then when you squared that, you should have gotten 324 times 3, which was actually 972.
I'm still getting.
Hey Grant, how many parentheses did you put at the end of the
Oh, yeah, you have to close it twice. Did you close your parentheses twice?
Yeah.
Because you're looking at me, you're sure?
Yeah.
Because you open one for the group, and there's another one for the square root.
Okay. Yeah. I did that right there.
Yeah, Leon, what'd you get again?
9016.
Oh yeah, I guess that's two. I almost like time.
You had to type something in wrong for the first time. Because then you square root that. What? Yeah, but that's only part of it. That then has to add the 1764.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't get the 324.
That's not point, that's times.
Yeah.
Because, so hey guys, here's what I'm showing with my work. When you square 18, it becomes 324. When you square radical 3, it becomes 3. Then when those multiply, you get like 976 or 972 or something like that.
So we only need the stuff on the left, right? We don't need the stuff on the right. We're only finding lateral area.
No, all of this is for lateral area. So this is finally what you find as your slant height. That has to plug in right here. So this is times 52, but I was running out of space to show it. So then when I did half the 216, I got 108 times the 52, and I put my decimal values back on, and then I find my final answer, rounded to the nearest square foot. Don't let me dismiss you guys without passing out papers. I've got a ton.
A ton, like literally
Not a
2,000.
metric ton.
Is there any other ton?
Yeah, a regular
Is
ton.
it like.
There's also the TONNE, which I forget what that is. It's like an English ton.
It's toning. Could it be a time relative to a beetle?
So, now dealing with surface area of a cone. Think about your equation just kind of being like rhythmic. Instead of being the 2 pi r, now it's just pi r. But here it's going to be pi r L plus pi r squared. So, pi r squared obviously is your big B. So if I look at just lateral area to break this up, make my life easier. My radius is 15. My slant height is 25. I'll do big B separately. Ah, never mind. I'll combine it all together.
Did it.
That's cool.
To show out my work, 15 times 25. 375 pi. 15 squared should be 225, right? Yeah.
Dang. This thing is
We get 600 pi label centimeter squared because it's still surface area. Any questions, comments, concerns? We're good? Yeah? Pi RL times pi r squared.
Yeah, we're good.
Pi RL plus pi r squared. Pi RL plus pi r squared. Try this. You are given your slant height, so above that I would write cursive L. You are given your radius, so above that I'd write little r, and you know everything you need. Try it on your own. Let's start passing some of this out. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay. Is this posted on map yet?
Oh, I can see my test from here. The only yellow paper in there.
The only yellow paper in there?
Oh wait, there's more.
There's always more.
like to line the front.
The only yellow.
But wait, there's more
Yeah,
tests that I
Greg.
want to give
Only
you
one.
failing grades on.
No, he went to go have testing.
Very good. That's all I need to know. Is
What
if
if
it
they
came
never
back or
came
not.
back?
Because if he came back and was like skipping my class, that'd be a problem.
That doesn't sound like something he would do though, so.
Yeah.
You never know when he might just decide. You know,
Mr. Hudson,
I don't need that today. Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay.
So for the next problem, is the line gonna point out right here?
Yeah, because think about it flipped upside down.
I was just wondering what the line
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
That was just
It is perfect now. Except for that one hair going on, but I don't care.
So I would much rather you be like moved on, because the whole thing grade is a check minus, but that assigned to the page on top is a
I
check.
see how it is.
wondering why you have like circles on.
The circled one is the combined grade for the whole assignment. Except I forgot to put one on yours, but it's a check. They're all checks. Yep.
Oh, okay. I see how it is. I can go teach it like
You wanna try?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Why, you wanna come with me?
No, go for it.
Okay, sorry. We're letting children teach children.
My circle got a little funky,
No.
but that's a check.
There's no pen.
Alright, attention on Mr. Walls.
So, I don't know. I just like to write out the. Why can't I just?
Oh,
There we go.
that's my thought.
Well, yeah, but I thought I could just.
You
do-
can use your fingernail.
So I like trying to write out like this. Then write R. Then write L. Then write plus. And then do all this stuff. I think it's weird. And then under it, I like to write like what it is. So this is 16. Because it says right there. Then 28. And then 16 squared. 256. And you just multiply those together, and you get 448. Then you get pi plus, then do all this, then you get 256 pi. And then you just get 704.
Do we agree? A little hard to read, so I will go ahead and show that as well. Pi r L plus pi r squared, and we walk through it. And the last part would be when given pieces that you then have to figure it out. How do we find the lateral area, such as with this funnel, which Robert brought up the really good
This
point
problem, you will
that this is like an upside down cone, right? Or depending on how you think of a cone, most kids are like ice cream cone, which then you think this is the right way for a cone, which is fine, but this then is your slant height. So we have a right triangle right here. Figure out what is your slant height, and then what is the lateral area, because, bless you, this funnel does not have a top. So why would we care about total surface area? All we care about is the lateral area all the way around. So really big question. Leah or Emily or Ben or Grant or Greg, would any of you guys like to come work during your AO today to finish some of this stuff?
Yeah, I should probably do it
Yeah.
today.
Yeah? Yeah, I'll try to eat first and be down here.
I just have like 3 questions.
Because you need to finish the test for me. Your chapter 8 still has a couple questions unanswered. And so tomorrow then talk with me. Do you have extensions? Do you have extensions today? Do you want to come work with me then? I'm in my room today. You don't have extensions today. Can you talk to me tomorrow about when we could figure out when we can meet?
I can probably do it during tomorrow's AO.
Okay, that'd be cool. Straller, I know you've been working on this for a minute. Do you want to talk it out or come up and teach it?
I mean, I kind of like, sure.
Think about the fact that lateral area uses the L.
Oh, wait. We're supposed to do it in terms of, yeah, I know, why, we're supposed to do it in
My
terms
first move would be have me breakfast.
I just did, I said,
And that's not a good move.
I don't know, I just did. I got 5,300. I didn't say you're in terms of what is it?
At least it's squishy then. No, it's for my Tuesday. I just put it on my. It's really an e-brace.
Yeah, nice. I'm confused. Except
Should I just put radical or just the number it came out
That
to
was
be?
the bottom.
Yeah,
Radical.
that's fine.
usually you put it right here. It's a different kind of
I ain't got no money.
No, but I'm
How would I pay for art support? If it's over $2.
So you don't put there's a lot of no, but then you put an e-brace like one of those ones that go like this and then it's like that. Well, maybe he doesn't need that. Don't put e-braces like that.
Questions?
I know.
Find the lateral area. Sasha?
It's too big for my elbow.
But for when other questions say round to the nearest number, is that just like only at the end or?
Yeah, at the very end. Yeah, don't round working numbers. Huh? Ah, so that's just getting through finding slant height? What?
What did he just do?
I
That was
don't
pretty cool.
know.
That was pretty sweet.
Weird. Apparently that. I bet you it's because it's enabled for tablets now.
plus h squared.
Yeah, you can
Solve
do
for
it.
L by taking the square root of each side of the
So,
equation.
once we
For
find
R
that
and
slant
45
height, we use
calc
that.
approximate
They
lateral
actually just plug
calculator to
everything
find the
in.
approximate lateral area.
Because they know that your slant height is going to be the radical of the two lengths.
You need
squared
about
side. And you get
7,566
about
square millimeters of filter
7,566.
paper to line the funnel.
Questions? Okie dokie. Write down the unit number on this homework as you get it. 2.1.
I don't think the arrow keys work for this thing.
You're joking about that chapter, right?
Yes.
Okay, just checking.
Chapter 2.1.
I'm really confused.
Wait, which one?
Wait, did you talk about that back?
Yeah, you saw a couple questions that you weren't finished on.
What?
That's why I said your name. Do you want to comment?
Are you confused now?
No, that doesn't confuse me.